Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to macro in B-Swarm Simulator, specifically as a blue hive. So you can make trillions of honey even when you're not playing the game. It's currently 8:30 a.m. and let's see, we've already made 22 trillion honey today. So you can see that this does work very well. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is you need to install the Natural Macro. So you can do that by going to the link in the description, and then we're going to scroll down to Assets and download Natural Macro v1.0.1.zip. There might be a newer version by now, but if there's not, then download this one. And once that's done, we're going to open the file. And then we can right click and extract all. And we're going to click Browse. Put it wherever you want. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. Then click Select Folder and extract. Alright, and then once that is done installing, you can go ahead and open up the folder. You're going to want to run start.bat. It's going to give this message, but it is safe, so then you can click run again. And there we go, the macro will pop up on our screen. Okay, first up, we want to set our gathering to be number 1 pine tree. And if you do want it to gather in other fields, if you have a quest or something, you can do that, but just set it for a short amount of time, otherwise it won't work very well. And we're going to want it to last for 10 minutes in pine tree. And then if you have a lot of honey, like me, you have mainly level 20s, you don't need what's in your backpack. You can just go ahead and change it to 2 hive by reset. Now, the pattern is actually really important. Okay, now, you can go to this Google Drive link that I have in the description here, and depending on what you have, you're going to get a different pattern. If you do not have Digital Beat, we're going to download mikutideshift.ahk. So you can go ahead and press download. Then we're going to show that in our folder. Then we're going to cut it, go back to our background, open up the patterns folder, and paste in this file. But if you do have Digital Beat, we want to download Alto Pine Shift. So we can open this up, download these 3 files. Then we're going to cut AutoPineShift.ahk, paste that into our patterns folder. But then this GTF Pine Tree and WF Pine Tree, we're going to put those into the paths folder, but we need to make sure that it will work if we use another pattern. So we're just going to copy the patterns that's already in there. So copy gtfpinetree.ahk, delete the one that isn't a copy, and WF Pine Tree, do the same thing, copy paste, and delete the original. Now we can go back to the files, we're going to cut them and paste them into the paths folder. Now, like I said before, if we do not have Digital Beat, we're going to use Miku Tide Shift, turn Gather with Shift Lock on, rotate camera left 4, the length is going to be medium, and the width is going to be 7. But if we do have Digital Beat, we're going to use Alto Pine Shift, Gather with Shift Lock on, length medium, width 1, rotate camera, none, and we want the sprinkler to start in the center. Okay, that's it for the Gather tab. Next up, we're going to use the Collect and Kill. Leave the clock on If you want to, you can turn on the Mondo buff, but this isn't going to work very well unless you're macroing with other people who are also doing that. You don't need AND passes. You can turn on your Honey Storm if you're working on Honeybee's quest. Memory matches usually just take up time, so unless you're like a mid-game player, I wouldn't turn these on. If you do turn them on, you want to go to options, make sure Allow Gather Interrupt is turned off, and we want to select the items that we don't want to get. So like, say I don't want coconuts. You can turn on the checkbox for coconuts, and then it will not match coconuts in Memory Match. And dispensers, Honey Tree, those aren't good. We want to turn on Blueberry, Strawberry. If you consistently defeat your coconut crab and you're working on getting the coconut belt, you can turn on Coconut. Otherwise, don't. I 100% recommend turning on the Glue dispenser. Now for business, you can turn on any of these that you want. The most important ones are Stockings, Feast, Gingerbread House, Candles, Lit Art, and Samovar. You can turn on others, or you cannot. And then for the blender, you don't have to put anything here. What I like to do is I like to make 10 blue extracts, repeat it infinitely, because I do make back the materials. But you don't have to do that. Kill tab, we don't want anything on. You can turn on Kill Vicious Bee if you have a quest for that, but otherwise no. And then turn on your King Beetle and Tunnel Bear. These 3 bosses don't work very well and just take up a lot of time, so it's not really worth it. Okay, now for the boost tab, we want to put our primary field boost to blue and the second one to mountain. Separate by 15 minutes. Only use auto field boost if you are going to be macroing during Honey Day. If it's not Honey Day, we don't want auto field boost on, because otherwise it'll just waste a ton of materials. Hotbar slots, you can use these. What I like to do is I like to put my blue extracts in the number 2 slot, and then turn gathering to number 2 to gathering, and make the time every 10 minutes, but you don't have to do that. If it's during Honey Day, you can also put oil in number 3 and enzymes in number 4 and set both of those to 10 minutes. But otherwise, you are just going to be wasting the oil and enzymes if it's not Honey Day. So most of the time you want to set those to never. Okay, quest tabs, we don't have to turn on anything. If you need more polar power, turn that on, but just make sure Allow Gather Interrupt is turned off, otherwise you're not going to be making any honey. Planters, we can take this slider, bring it all the way up to the plus. Now it's automatically going to be preset to blue. So we're going to leave it as harvest every 2 hours. And now for our nectar priorities, we're going to put motivating as our number 1, put it to 80%, comforting number 2, 70%, satisfying number 2 at 70%, satisfying number 3, refreshing number 4 at 70%, and if you have 2 or more of the endgame planters, that's the heat treated, hydroponic, petal, or planter of plenty, then you want to set your 5th one to invigorating at 50%. If you do not have 2 or more, it's just going to waste time on invigorating, so set that to none. Then just for the allowed planters, set it to any planters that you have. So I also have hydroponic petal, so you can set it to use those. Now status tab, there's nothing we can change in here. Settings, this is very important. We want to set our hive slot to whatever it is, 6 being at the very left and 1 being at the very right. So like we have the number 6 right here, number 1 right here, so I'm currently in 1, So I'm just going to change that to 1. Tell it how many bees you have, and we want to wait 5 seconds after converting. Now if you have a private server link, you can paste it in here. Daily reconnect, I just set it to do every 24 hours, and so my local time is UTC -5, so if I wanted to set it midnight, I'm going to say 5 UTC, so this will reconnect at by midnight. You can do fallback to public server, it doesn't really change anything. And then for your character movement speed, this is very important. You need to make sure you don't have anything that's buffing your speed. When you check this, you're going to go to the system menu, scroll down to where you find move speed, you see mine is 31, so I'm going to type it here, 31. If you do not set this correctly, the macro will not work. Now we're going to say move method to cannon, unless you don't have the cannon for some reason, then you can change it to walk. Sprinkler type, just put in whatever type you have. I am Supreme. Convert your balloon after gathering. And we don't want to do the gather double reset. That was an old glitch that doesn't work anymore. Miscellaneous, it doesn't have anything. Unless you want to do auto start manager, this just makes it so whenever you turn on your computer, the macro will automatically start. But then there's just some other tools in here that you can use. And that's it. So I hope this video helped you guys, so you could be making hundreds of trillions of honey, getting all the resources that you need to be a Bee Swarm Pro player, while you're not even actually playing the game.